Now coming to the bookies, just a brief word. How do they operate? How do they fix matches? It's a myth to imagine or to believe that the bookies are interested in fixing the outcome of the game. They're not concerned. They don't care whether team A wins or team B wins. That's not where their money lies. What they have to do is to pick one or two key players and fix it. Statistics have shown us that the amount of money that is wagered on a game, particularly if it's a high-profile game, could be as much as 8 to 10,000 crores per match. Now, how a bookie operates is this way. And I know it firsthand for the simple reason they've been clients of mine. Of course, I've been clients of some of them, but they've more than been clients of mine. How it works is, they fix a game so they know that when a player comes in, he will underperform and he'll either concede runs or he'll throw his wicket away. So, with so much money being wagered, and I must tell you something about the Indian bookies, they are so sharp that the odds in a game vary with each ball. Forget cricket. Cricket is something which everyone knows. But bookmakers who also take bets on tennis, the odds are fluctuating with each ball. You have Roger Federer and Nadal playing. Roger Federer serves one fault and the odds vary. So it goes ball by ball and they are really in that sense on the ball. They know exactly what's happening, the odds vary. So when they fix a player, they tell a player, okay, wait. So they know that this player, when he gets in, is going to underperform. Either he'll throw his wicket away or he's going to bowl a loose delivery. So they offer generous odds on that team. Because when the person underperforms, the odds expand. And in that spread, they make their money. So what it would require is that out of this 8,000 crores that's rolling in a game, you simply take away 5 or 8 crores of that in the spread betting, and in that you make your profit. So after that, if you make 5 or 6 crores, you give 60 lakhs to Srishant, some amount to his girlfriend, and that's it, and the rest of it goes in your pocket. So bookies do not fix the entire match. They're not concerned with it. They're concerned with just making money on the spread. And how this institution of bookies operate, it's quite fascinating. I don't know how many of you care to admit that you have done some betting of this sort. By the way, you can do it quite candidly because according to me, it's not an offense. But how it works is, you pick up the phone, you ask a bookmaker, what are the odds? And he tells you the odds. Let's see, it says, normally they quote the odds this way. It says 75-80, which means if you want to wager, you'll get 75 upon 100 back. If you want to accept the bet, you'll have to lose 80 for every 100 of yours. So there's a little spread they get. It's just like when you buy currency, buy and sell currency. When you buy currency, you buy it more expensively. When you sell it, you get a lesser price. That's the spread that the bookmakers keep. But a conversation with a bookie lasts not more than 10 seconds. He doesn't have time for you. And he'll recognize all his punters. So let's suppose if I were to call up and I said, and mind you, all these bookies are known by bhais. You say, Vinod Bhai, and he'll recognize your voice. He says, so he'll give you the odds, 75-80. He says, Mera 5 lekho. Now coming from me, he'll know it means 500 rupees. But coming from some of you, 5 could be 5,000, 5 could be 5 lakhs, 5 could be anything. He knows his punters. That conversation lasts for exactly 10 seconds and the phone goes down. He has no time to chat with you and do nothing of the sort. And the next day, the bets are tallied and you will get paid. It's all on trust and it happens like clockwork. And that organization is so completely organized, it works in a pyramid. So you have bookmakers at the lower level. If their books are full, they pass on their bets higher till it goes to the apex body who cannot refuse, who must accept any amount. So this is how it is done, and this organization is something worth looking into. Now, let's see what are the charges in this case. What are those people who have been charged with? The cricketers as well as the bookmakers. From what I could read, I believe there are 5 charges, or at least under 5 different heads. One is cheating. That's an offense under section 415 of the Penal Code. Now, I frankly believe that cheating cannot apply in a situation like this, because cheating is, the ingredients of cheating are that you deceive someone with a view to cause that person to part with property. Or you deceive someone so that that person does something or does not do something which he would otherwise not do or do. And so that that act of that deception results in injury to him in body, mind, reputation, or property. Now apply this test. Where is the question of deception in this case? Yes, it's loosely argued. A bookmaker is certainly not deceived in this whole alliance between the bookmaker and the player. Who's deceived? Now it's loosely said that the public is cheated. So that's a very loose expression. It just doesn't apply in the context of this game. It's not that a person came to watch a match only to make sure that Srishant bowls his best. He's come to watch a game of cricket. So there is no privity of contract between Srishant and every person who buys a ticket. So he's not cheated. So therefore, it's in a very loose sense that we talk about. We feel hurt. I'm not, by the way, condoning his conduct. It is certainly reprehensible and it is something which cannot be tolerated. He has to pay the price. He probably, if it is proved, ban him for the rest of his life. It is exactly what you did with Azharuddin and Jadeja. Certainly, those sanctions are certainly available against him. But it is not cheating in the legal sense of the word. And I must tell you something about criminal law in that sense, that for something to be an offense, it must be definite. There must be a certainty to it. You can't have an elastic definition simply because it offends your sensibilities that someone like him is getting away with it. And so nonetheless, you must rope him in somehow, stretch the law and fit it into it. That's not how criminal law operates. In fact, the law must be precise. It must tell him exactly what he's up against. That's what the rule of law is all about. On the other hand, if there is a loophole in the law, an accused person is certainly entitled to take every advantage. That's the jurisprudence of criminal law. So cheating there is not. Perhaps, again, if you wanted to extend the meaning, maybe Srishant could be said that he has cheated his sponsor, let's say Rajasthan Royals, because they are paying him a fat salary to do his best. His loyalties lie to some bookies, and so he's undoing that. But that has a lot of, that's fraught with its own uncertainties, because it will have to be shown that Rajasthan Royals, that when he signed the contract, at that time, he intended never to perform his part of the contract, he intended to cheat them. Now, it has difficulties, and therefore, I don't think cheating is something which would be applicable. Then the other offense that they say which may be attracted is breach of trust. Again, I don't believe breach of trust can be attracted, because breach of trust means an entrustment of property or dominion over property which you unauthorizedly use to your advantage, to your gain. Now here, interestingly, perhaps this definition may be extended to Gurunath Mayapan. No one's, well, I'm not giving a hint to the prosecutors, but I'll tell you how. It may be argued, and I don't know the facts at all, but it may be argued that the information which Gurunath has gathered from his team, that's CSK, may be in the nature of classified information, or it may constitute intellectual property. So therefore, now he is the repository of intellectual property from the team, which he is misusing and which he is peddling for a private gain. He is selling that information to others for a private gain. A case of breach of trust, as far as he's concerned, perhaps can be stretched to be made out, but again, it's a stretch, and I wouldn't really put my bet on that. Then you have another act which has been invoked. That's the Prohibition of Gambling Act. Now, frankly, I don't see how these bookmakers are kept behind bars for this long. Do you know this Prohibition of Gambling Act, really speaking, aims at running a gaming house? You cannot run a parlor or a house in which gambling is done. That's the prohibition. And what is the penalty for that? This is an archaic law. The penalty for that is 500 rupees and a year's imprisonment. And these offenses are non-cognizable and bailable. So where is the question? So under the law as it exists, this is not attractive. Then you have the Information Technology Act, which has absolutely no application. It deals with dissemination of the sections which are attracted here deal with 67 and 66 AA. It has absolutely no application. One deals with pornography, one deals with putting on the web some threatening and menacing letters to others with a view to corrupt minds, etc. So forget all that, that can't apply. But curiously, there is one provision of the law which I've come across, namely section 130 of the Police Act, which makes a wager, which is a wager bad if that wager entails a malpractice on the game. Perhaps that may be attractive, but once again, that's nothing but giving an extended meaning to your concept of cheating, and that again is punishable with 200 rupees. So this is the law. So the law today as it exists is woefully inadequate, completely inadequate to deal with the situation, and you can't. Now in England, however, you remember a couple of years back, 3 of the Pakistani cricketers were convicted. They served varying sentences. One was given 3 years, one 18 months, and one 6 months for spot fixing, exactly the same. Now why were they convicted in England? They were convicted in England because in England you have the Fraud Act, which makes an act of fraud per se punishable. You don't have any corresponding act over here to that effect. And that jurisprudence is different because in England, bookmaking is legal. So you could actually cheat a bookmaker and be punished for it. But here you cannot, because bookmaking is completely illegal. So therefore, if you cheat a bookmaker, you're not committing any offense. Be quite clear about that. So this, therefore, is the difference between England and India. And you can't say that because there he was punished, over here also he must be punished. The law requires complete overhaul in this regard. And I refuse to believe that the BCCI didn't even suggest this. When was Azharuddin and Jadeja, when were they disqualified? When were they found in having connections with bookies and making illegal bets? About 10 years ago? 8-10 years ago? More, maybe more than that. What have they done? This was a good case. I mean, this was a perfect reason to have the law revised, but none of that was done. Now, is legalizing gambling an answer? I'm not so sure. Perhaps what legalizing gambling may do is, well, bring in more legitimate players and may obviously entail more revenue. But that doesn't mean that spot fixing and match fixing is going to come to an end, because there will always be that incentive. And, well, maybe in a roundabout way, in an indirect way, there could be more competition for the bookies, and perhaps in that manner, this whole spot fixing evil may subside a bit, but I'm not very sure about it. So therefore, legalizing is not really an answer, except that, of course, there is need for it. There's need for it for the simple reason that it's going to happen. It's human nature to gamble. It has to be human nature to gamble, and it's sheer hypocrisy to say that we're not going to bring about a law, because even today you have laws which have legalized, which considers gambling to be legal in some spheres. Horse racing is permitted in 5 or 6 states. Gambling is perfectly legal in Goa and Sikkim. What about lotteries? Lotteries is nothing but state-sponsored gambling. So therefore, this is sheer hypocrisy to say that we're going to ride a high moral ground and not bring in gambling. But there's a good case. But whether it will solve the problem of spot fixing or not, I'm not so sure. Now, in this entire episode, what I find is that Srishant has been made the face of this controversy. And that is where I don't agree.